What's going on, guys? My name is Nick and welcome back to Olson Auto. If you're new to the channel and you haven't seen my giveaway video, go ahead, click the card in the upper right hand corner or click the first link in the description. It'll take you to my short 4-minute video talking about how to enter. Guys, the giveaway is for a brand new GoPro Hero 7 Black with a bunch of accessories. Totally free to enter. I'm doing it in honor of hitting 250 subscribers. And as we sit now, we're at about 386. I haven't checked in an hour or so it's probably a bit higher. So I want to thank you guys for so much continued support, and go ahead, click that link, find out how you can enter too. But with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead, I'm going to talk to you about what this video is about. Oh, that's a clean 5.0. Besides the crowd killer, the reason I'm making this video is because someone Snapchatted me a question, and they asked how I get into buying, selling, and building. That Mustang sounds really good. That thing sounds good. Anywho, they asked how I get into buying, selling, and building all of these cool motorcycles and cars. How can I afford it? How do you really start for yourself? So it is a really good question, and I guess I'm just gonna start with sort of my story, how I got into it, and then I'm gonna build further from there and talk about how I do it now, financially and physically. So it all started a long time ago when I got my first dirt bike. It was a CRF 50. I ended up selling it, but I rode that for a while, and that sort of gave me the passion for it. There's another helicopter. This is the second time I've filmed this video and there's a helicopter overhead. Anywho, my passion sort of stemmed from going to car shows as a kid and dirt bikes. I started racing on my 2001 Suzuki JR80, which is essentially a pit bike, and I was up against these, purpose-built race bikes on my little 30-inch seat height pit bike. So that was pretty funny, and that's sort of how it all started. I ended up selling the pit bike and investing that money into the stock market, which I've been doing for almost 3 years now. I've been actively trading stocks and options, and I don't use that money towards this, so don't worry, you don't have to become a Wall Street guru to figure out how to flip vehicles. So after that, I bought my race bike. It was a 2003 Yamaha YZ85, and after buying that bike and racing it, I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do, was anything motorsports related. From there, I started making YouTube videos, and I've always been making YouTube videos, whether it's gaming or whatever it was. I always had sort of a passion for it, but I was never really able to pursue it. It was always either an oversaturated market or something like that. Now that I've found something I'm happy with doing, I'm able to produce videos, it's a bit more motivation to buy more vehicles, although it's really still not much more than I would be buying anyway. So getting your first funds for whatever vehicle you want to buy, whether you decide you want to build a car, a motorcycle, a dirt bike, in my opinion, dirt bikes are easiest because you don't have to register them, there's no paperwork involved, and it really broadens what you can do to the vehicle. However, whatever you're interested in, whether it's cars, motorcycles, or dirt bikes, the first thing you have to do is figure out how to get money. I was able to buy my Honda Shadow Bobber, which was my big project. It was the first real renovation I'd ever done. Paid $1,200 for it, and I got that money from a mixture of selling my dirt bike, my old race bike, and I also worked my butt off. I did a lot of landscaping, and all of that I was able to get the money I needed. I actually manufactured and fabricated most of the parts that I put on it myself for really cheap or free using the welder I had and any scrap metal. Of course, not everybody has a bunch of scrap metal lying around, but it is a lot easier if you do. So before you guys wonder, oh, I have 7 motorcycles and however many cars, I must be rich. I'm not. I work at Target, I make $15 an hour. I make YouTube videos for free, and I'm a college student. I'm not made of money. If anything, it's quite the opposite. But getting into it, it's not easy. You have to be able to find the money, you have to work your butt off, and not expect to see anything for about a year. It took a while before I could buy the motorcycle, but once I bought it, I had really figured out a lot about working on the vehicles, and once you know how to work on something, you can really broaden your horizons once you know how to fix carbs and put tires on wheels. Once you know how to work on a vehicle yourself, you can buy project bikes that are a bit cheaper, and basically what that allows you to do is obviously save money and spend more towards the renovation, or just save money in general. So the first step I recommend, once you have, let's say, 1,000 or 1,500, so that your first project isn't too totally beat to death, I recommend 1,000 to 1,500 depending on what you're doing. That's a good price range for either cars or motorcycles. This is my 1990 Prelude. I paid $1,000 for it, so it's a good price range for a project. Once you have your money, the first thing you're going to want to do is check Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and OfferUp. Not a big fan of OfferUp. People usually don't answer, and if they do, it's not in the same language you speak. A little bit annoying, so what I recommend is Facebook Marketplace. Not only does Facebook Marketplace have more groups, and you can actually sift through different types of cars if that's what you're into, but you can actually see the person who's selling it. You can see their profile, what they post, Maybe they're gonna try to sell you a motorcycle that was always babied, and then they're gonna post a video of them doing a fat rolling burnout on it. It's just nice to be able to get to know the person that you're about to hand $1,000 over to. So, like I said guys, if you're looking to get into it, you gotta find the money, which can come from either landscaping or getting your first job, basically minimum wage, or if you have something else you wanna sell, that can also get you some money. And then you're going to want to go onto Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, are my two favorites. You're going to find whatever it is you're looking to buy, and then from there you want to have a general scope of what you want the vehicle to do. I bought my bobber because I just wanted a really loud straight piped V-twin motorcycle, and that about sums it up. There's no exhaust in that vehicle, totally straight piped, and it really serves the purpose I needed it to. If you're looking to go dirt bike riding with your friends, obviously you're not going to buy a Suzuki Gixxer 600. That's not exactly ideal for the woods, so before you even go searching for a vehicle, you should have a general idea of what you want to be doing with that vehicle. Do you just want a quick flip? Maybe buy a bike with bad carbs, rebuild the carbs and sell it for twice what you paid? Or maybe you're just looking for a good old reliable cruiser to take up north every summer. So you're going to have to get the money. You want to look around and get an idea of prices of what the vehicles you're interested in are, and you also need to figure out what vehicles you're interested in. Of course, if you're looking for cars or anything you're going to register, it becomes 10 times more difficult. For the state that I live in, you need previous registration and a bill of sale from the person who had it previously registered, and that's not always easy. The vehicles that are typically in my price range have been sitting for a long time. Another helicopter. There's another helicopter coming. The vehicles in my price range have typically been sitting for a while, and the previous owner is more likely than not dead, so it's pretty hard to find paperwork. I know other states like Massachusetts require you to have a title, which is even more annoying because titles are probably the most frequently lost piece of paperwork. So if you're ever looking to register the vehicle that you buy, you gotta make sure you have paperwork for it, because that's super, super, super important. You can have the most clean vehicle ever, work your butt off for it, rebuild it, all that, and then it's useless because you don't have the title. So that's why I recommend for your first project going with either a vehicle that definitely has papers, not a problem, or you want to go with a dirt bike, something you don't have to register, something you can ride around on your lawn, something you can just sort of have fun with. Obviously that becomes a bit more difficult if you live in the city. Dirt bikes aren't exactly city friendly, but where I'm from, having a dirt bike is pretty much essential to even exist. So overall, getting into selling vehicles and buying vehicles and building them, it isn't easy, but it definitely isn't hard. All you have to do is just work for it. Once you have the money at that point, it's just a matter of figuring out what you want, and you have to actually find it. One thing I'm going to tell you guys, and the biggest piece of advice, is just because you're desperate to find something and buy something, do not jump on the first vehicle you look at. Don't be afraid to say no. The amount of vehicles that I've said no to in the past month is insane. I'm always looking for new projects, whether it's another Prelude or a better daily or another motorcycle. I'm always looking for something, and you know, it's terrible and it's annoying when you drive 65 miles or so. You go and you look at it, you're excited, you didn't sleep the night before, and then it's not as the seller described. Now, I recently had this issue with a few cars where you get there and it's just probably 10 times more clapped than they had said it was. They said it didn't leak a drop of fluid, but you make it a mile down the road and you're already short a quart of oil. That can get pretty annoying. But the general lesson, guys, know when to say no. If you end up saying yes and you buy a super clapped vehicle or something that's just not worth your time, you're going to regret it. You're going to have the worst buyer's remorse ever when you spend $1,000 and you watch a giant hunk of metal sit in your driveway and rust away. Make sure you know what you're buying, make sure you know what you're getting into, and bring someone who's experienced. If you're buying your first vehicle and you're not really sure how to inspect it, find a friend who's a mechanic who knows what they're doing, and see if they'll be willing to help you by looking and listening for any major problems if it runs, noticing if any of the bearings are bad, whether it be in the engine or chassis or anything like that. That about sums up this video, guys. If you have any other questions about buying your first project or getting into buying and selling, I don't do much selling. I don't buy my projects to flip them. I do sometimes if I ever look for some extra money. But I usually buy them to just build them, learn how to build them, and make content for you guys, and just to have another toy to play around with. But if you guys have any other questions, be sure to comment them down below, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified on the next video I upload. Be sure to click that card at the beginning of the video and the first link in the description to be entered to win the GoPro Hero 7 Black. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.